For this Tech Tuesday, we're focusing on Pear Deck and Canva templates that have been created to support social emotional learning and checking in with students. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you join our Pear Deck session by either clicking the link on the chat and opening in another window, or visiting joinpd.com and entering this code you see here in the corner. So I'll give you another moment for that. And since this is being recorded, for those of you who are watching later, know that you will have a separate code. Brief background on Pear Deck. Pear Deck is a Google Slides add-on that makes your slides presentations interactive. So it encourages student voice by prompting all students to participate and input answers when you add that interactivity to your slides. And it also allows you to check in with your students and so much more. But again, we're keeping this brief, so we're not going to cover everything, just specifically these Canva templates. So real quickly, before we dive in, how often do you use Pear Deck? So you should see some answer choices on the right side of your screen. So let us know. I'm going to go ahead and show your responses. And for those of you who are not too familiar, we see one person who has never used Pear Deck. So welcome. We hope you get excited about seeing what it does. Those of you who have been using it, you know that this is the part where you can anonymously share student responses so that everyone can see. Now, again, we're not going to go into every detail on how to use Pear Deck, only some of it. So make sure the person who selected you've never used Pear Deck, book a session with us. We'll be more than happy to show you how to use this amazing tool. So thank you for sharing. We see that the majority of the people here have been using it. All right. So the Canva team has teamed up with Pear Deck to make some pre-made templates that are ready for you to use as is. We're going to go over some of them so that you can experience them as students, but know that they are ready to use and you can use them as they are together, one at a time, or just pull them and put them into your lessons that you are already going to teach to your students. The first template is today's mood check. This one's really great because it helps students identify their current moods. They kind of reflect on that and put a name to what they're feeling, and they get to practice their breathing. Okay, so you're going to get to experience them right now. So here's one of the templates or one of the slides from that template. Now, as you can see, this one's not interactive, and that's okay. However, this one, as we mentioned, will help students focus on their breathing and kind of help them focus and center themselves before they begin an activity or begin their learning journey for the day or for the class period. Right, so maybe you can practice doing some deep breaths right now. You know that your day is over. You're here with us now. You're seeing these things about Pear Deck, so take a few deep breaths. And this next one here helps students identify what color zone they are feeling. So all of you should have a little purple star on the upper right-hand corner that you can drag to how you are feeling. You know, so this also helps your students think about, okay, maybe I'm reflecting on how I'm sitting, you know, since these talk about how they're sitting, you know, maybe their facial expressions, how they're moving. Now, we know with Pear Deck, you can show student responses as I did earlier. These templates and these slides, you probably don't want to do that. This is more for you as a teacher to see how your students are doing. So you kind of pinpoint who you need to check in with, right? But I'm going to slide over my teacher dashboard so you can see what it looks like for a teacher. So here as a teacher, I can see all of my stars here, and I can separate this overlay layout to a grid so I can scroll through and see how each person has selected their answer. So I know I may need to check in with some students. May need to check in with one who hasn't dragged their star yet either, right? So again, not something you would display, but for you to see who you need to check in with based on what they prefer their answer. Okay. So those are just two of the slides from that deck. So here you have a moment to check it out. So your screen should look something like this. You can scroll through using this arrow button here. So this is one that we shared with you, the breathing one, as well as this one, the color zone. But as you can see, there's one here that asks students to think about how they can help manage their feelings, what they can do. And one that asks them how they're feeling now. They would just drag the little heart to to the space of where they're feeling. And here's the final one where, it has them practice the breathing again. So again, you can use them together, you can mix and match, or you can pull one or two to insert into a lesson you're already doing. Okay. And if this is a template that you want to have in your Google Drive to use in the future, you'll want to click this copy file to drive. Okay. You'll be taken to a new tab. You want to click make a copy, and then you'll let Google work its magic to make a copy of this template deck for you, and it'll be in your drive. So once you've done that, it'll be in your drive. Okay. Okay, so let's come back to our Pear Deck session to check out another template. Because as we said, we're going to try to keep this brief, get you out of here by 3:30. The other template we want to share with you is the feelings check-in. So this one allows students to share their feelings with you. Similar to the mood check, but a little different. If you used with your students that color one from the mood check template, you can piggyback with this one of the following day, which asks students to think about the color they're feeling. Because, sometimes your emotions feel like a color, and your students may be familiar with the movie Inside Out, right? Where all of those emotions were associated with a color. That's something you can tell your students as well. And they can use the draw tool to start drawing how they're feeling. Again, just like with the previous ones, wouldn't encourage you to share student answers, but you do have it on your dashboard. You can see how your students are doing and what they're drawing. And this slide is great because it really helps with that self-expression. Some of our students can express themselves easily, no problem with their words, but some express themselves better by typing it out, writing it out, or drawing it out. And this will help them do that. Thank you for those of you who are drawing. Okay, we're going to move along, okay? All right, and this next slide asks students to match how the weather is outside and how they're currently feeling, and to think about, maybe the weather has an effect on how their current mood is, So you should see two little icons, a check mark to drag for the weather outside, and a red circle to drag to how your face, or how you're feeling based on these faces here on this slide. And again, something easy for our students to identify with, they just have to drag the icons. So this one's probably more friendly. It's friendlier for our younger students, right? Or maybe those who may not want to draw. And again, with the teacher dashboard, you can see exactly where everyone is dragging their icons. So this is an overlay one, so I don't have to show anybody's names, but know that I can change to grid or list view to see individually. So we see someone, I'm going to have to check in. Oops, I'm sorry, that just flashed the person's name. We'll blur that. I'll have to check with that person to see how they're doing, right? And inquire why they're feeling that way. Maybe they're not understanding the lesson. Maybe something happened at recess or at lunch. Here's now this deck that you can check out. So again, you can just scroll through. These are the two we share. And then this is a great question to pose to your students. Is there something you're looking forward to doing today? Get a little insight as to what it is they're looking forward to doing your class period. And, letting them know, thank you for sharing. Because for some, it may not be easy to share their feelings, right? But, letting students know that this is something that's just between you and them. You're not going to share their answer to the class. It'll help them open up. And again, just like with the other one, if you want to copy in your drive, just click this blue copy file to drive button. Google will work its magic. You'll click make a copy, and it'll put it in your drive. So know that if you're ready to use it, you can just use this as is. You would just click on the Pear Deck on the top. When you're ready to share with your students, click Start Lesson. I personally would choose Instructor Pace to control the pace. It would set my presentation. It would make it ready to go. And then I can grab a link. Let me move that over there. I can grab this link and drop it in Google Classroom, or write this code on the board for students to join, and they can go from there. Now, if I just want to grab one slide, I can. Let's say I want to insert just this one into the beginning of a slide deck presentation. where I'm focusing maybe on subject predicates, I just copy that one slide, right click it, copy it, open that other slide deck and drop it in there. And because it already has the interactivity, make sure to click on Perry up here and click Start Lesson so that students can then drag the icon. Okay. All right, so let's go back to our Pear Deck session. Now, another question for you, did you see a slide or some slides that you can use tomorrow or later this week with your students? So I see that all of you so far that have participated are saying yes, so that's great. So glad you were able to find something that you could use. But wait, there's more, right? We're not going to deep dive into these because, again, we were just focusing on the mood check and today's feelings. But there are more templates that were made by Canva for Pear Deck, as you can see here and in your presentation. You can see that there are templates for math, for English, for science, for social studies, FIST to 5. So if you want to take a look at those, you would just scroll down. And let's say you're curious about the FIST to 5. You would click on that one. It opens up here. And you can just use the arrows to look through and see what it covers, right? And if it's something you like, you're like, yeah, this is something I want to use with my students, click on Google Slides. It will open a new tab and click that blue Copy File to Drive button. You'll then be prompted to click Make a Copy, and it will make a copy in your drive. Now, we know you probably don't have enough time to look through all of them right now, and that's okay. Know that when the session is over, you will be emailed your takeaway, which will have all these links that you can click through and revisit these templates to pull the ones you want to use. Also, know that we do have resources for you. We do have the help deck, which is pictured here, which is full of a bunch of how-to videos made by us and Pear Deck that show you how to use it. There's also the Pear Deck knowledge base, which has a bunch of FAQs, as well as the Pear Deck YouTube channel. And I think we've done it within 20 minutes, yes? Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and end the recording, but do know that if you have additional questions, you're welcome to email us. You're welcome to book a session. For that one person who said you have not used Pear Deck before, book a session. We are more than happy to show you how to use it. It is an amazing tool to use with students. So if you have any questions, I did prompt it to stop recording. Let's see when it'll stop doing that.
So Danny, you'll get that last slide with all the links in your takeaway. You'll get an email as soon as the session's over. Mm-hmm. Sandra, since she is the host of the Pear Deck, she will send out she will click the button that makes them just automatically go out to you.
Yep.
And it will have all the links in there for you.
Mm-hmm.